Hi, I'm Mark Tresch. We're at Woodbury Cement Products. I am Vice President. This is a family-owned business. I'm third generation. We do have a fourth generation involved. One of the many things I get to do here are these DIY seminars. I'm also in charge of our website. I do sales, I do purchasing. Pretty much everything but drive a truck. What we're trying to do today is go through a paver installation. First step, you need to find the height of our job. Okay, by that I mean where the pavers are going to be when the job is over. Once we establish that, we're going to set up a string line. And what the string line represents is the top of the paver. When the patio is against the house, the most important thing is to get water to run away from the house. So we need to establish pitch. Using this line level, we can get this line on the backside level. Like I said, this is top of paver. What we're going to do then is come out here, whatever distance your patio is, and let's just say it's 10 feet. We're going to set 2 more pins on these corners, and we're going to run that string line back out here again, using our line level, fine level on the line. But because we want pitch, we're going to take our tape measure on that pin 1 inch down, because we're at 10 foot, and our rule of thumb is 1 inch of pitch per 10 foot of paver, and lower the string on that line. So now we've got pitch over here. We want to bring that same concept to this pin. Level line, measure down 1 inch, lower it, and then put a 4th line across here, level. That's now the top of your whole job when you're done. From here, we begin the excavation in walkway areas, patios, walkways, pool decks. We want to go down 8 inches from the top of that string. So this is the fun begins. We start shoveling. Or depending on the size of your project, you may want to consider renting a backhoe or renting a skid steer, or even bringing in an excavation contractor who can remove the dirt and put your sub base in. All right, so now that we've got our 8 inches excavated, we're going to put a geotextile fabric onto the ground. The reason we want to put this fabric down is because we're going to mechanically tamp the stone. We don't want any of the stone disappearing into the ground. So, put the fabric down and we start bringing in the stone. Now we rent tampers here for your use, but they are not strong enough to tamp 4 inches at a time. So we suggest a 2-inch lift. Put 2 inches of stone in, run the tamper. Put 2 inches of stone in, run the tamper. Every now and then you might want to check against your line. So it's real simple. You just want to measure down and see we've got 4 inches of stone. If you have to, you can always run lines from corner to corner so that you can check the middle. It's very important that the stone follows the pitch of your line, because your sand's going on your stone, your paver's going on your sand. If the stone's out of whack, your sand will be out of whack. So check it. Spend a little time with it. Don't lose your mind. It's not concrete, it doesn't flow, it is stone. But make sure that it does follow the pitch properly. And spend the most time on this project with your base. Your base is what's going to keep this thing together forever, hopefully. Once you get your base in, you're going to put 1 inch of concrete sand as a leveling base. Again, making sure that it follows the pitch. And we don't want to get any more than 1.5 inches max. Problem is, if you get too much sand, when we go to tamp the pavers at the end, you may end up pushing certain sections down lower, so your job ends up like this, or you get a low spot, which we call bird bath, because when it rains, it collects water. So 1 inch of sand. Once we've got our sand base in, now we can start installing our pavers. And it's real simple. You pick them up and you put them down. There's not a whole lot of magic involved here, although I do suggest having multiple people assist you if you can, because if you got to be walking to the pile, carrying the pavers back, getting down your knees, putting the pavers in, getting up off your knees, walking back to the pile, it gets real old real fast and you get real sore real fast. 3 people are ideal. 2 guys coming, 1 guy can stay on his knees the whole time and just start laying pavers. You'll lay your whole job out, and we have to install an edge restraint. We pull back some of the sand from the stone, and we lay an 8-foot piece of plastic edge restraint in with 10-inch spiral galvanized spikes. It just gets approximately 5 pieces per length, and you do that on all your open sides. Once you've got the edge restraint in, we bring a product in called polymeric sand. It's a new kind of sand that has a glue in it, so that when you wet it, it'll get hard, and it helps keep it from ants, and it helps keeps weeds out. Spread the sand evenly over the area. Now before we tamp, it's suggested and recommended that we take the same fabric that we put underneath the stone onto the surface of the pavers. In this way, the tamper, the metal plate of the tamper, won't scratch up your pavers. So we're going to run the tamper over, we're going to pull the material off, we're going to resand. Put the material back on, run the tamper. Basically, we're going to run the tamper twice. We're going to pull the fabric off, and then we're going to fill in any spots that haven't gotten sand. Now, if we're using the polymeric sand, we're going to activate it with water. But we have to make sure it's off the surface of the paver. I suggest a leaf blower set on low. You just stand over top of it, and you'll see the dust. It is pretty dusty. So make sure it's all off. You flood it with water, saturate it completely, job's over. You're done.
Class was great. Taught us a lot of tricks, little things to cut back on time. Turns out the number of guys I got coming over is going to be the right amount. So
Very
now
informative.
now we know how to actually use the guys to make it efficient. So it made everything seem a lot easier, so it's not so scary.
A lot of tips and tricks of the trade, so we'll get a good end result, I think. So very pleased.
Yep.
The seminar was very informative. I'm a rookie at this, and it was great to come out here and learn some tips and techniques of how to do it yourself, and I'll recommend it for the future.